Hello everyone, welcome to my tutorial on Java. Today's tutorial I'm going to talk about another exception handling method using the throwing clause. In the last two tutorials we talked about the checked and unchecked exceptions and how we are going to use the try catch finally block to handle the exceptions, and we also talked about the throws clause. Today's lecture is about the throwing clause. So you can see that the throws clause is coming at the method declaration point. Okay, so whenever you are declaring your method, you have to declare also what exception you are throwing because of the checked exception. But on the other hand, the throw clause is used within the method body, and let's say that you are going to anticipate that something will go wrong or something may go wrong. In that case, you can throw the exception again. Okay, and that exception will be handled by the calling method. So now let's take an example in here. This is the same method that we used before, and we are trying to read a file. Okay, and we are asking the user to input the file path, and we are getting the file path. Now there can be a situation when the file path is entered nothing. That means the user didn't input anything. So what happens in that case? The length of that file path will be 0. So we are saying that if the file path is 0, the length is 0, then throw new exception, new IO exception. Okay, and whenever we are throwing at new IO exception, it will be coming to this calling method. We are going to handle it, and of course remember that because we are throwing a checked exception, so that's why the calling method needs to handle it. This is something we need to think about. So now if I am going to run it, let's say I am running it, okay, and it is asking for a file name and I'm not inputting anything. I'm just hitting the enter, and you can see that it threw the severe file not found exception, and the finally block is also executed. So what happened is it came to this line and it finds that the file path is 0, the length is 0, so it is throwing immediately an exception, and these lines will not be executed. Okay, and it's coming over here, and this is not also executed, okay, because the exception is thrown at this point. So from here we are moving on to the catch block, and within the catch block what we did, we tried to get the IO exception error message, and you can always get the root of the error message by e.getMessage, and it will show you what the error message is. So that is what we have printed. Okay, so that's all about how we are going to use the throwing clause in order to handle or in order to take care of some exceptions. If we are going to look at how we are dealing with the unchecked exceptions, you can see that we have a main method. The main method is calling divide by 0 method, and the divide by 0 method in its first statement is just throwing an exception. Okay, we are not putting anything here. We just want to see like how it works. So that's why it is so simple. So what will happen is if I'm going to run it, run as Java application, and then you can see that exception in method in thread main trying to divide by 0. So whenever we are going and this is invoked and this is throwing a new arithmetic exception, and that is what is printed over here. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.